You're watching Pitch2Production, the show where we take a random idea and turn it into a film, all within a month. Now, without further ado, lights, camera, action.
Hey, how's it going? So you're probably wondering what this show is called Pitch2Production over here. And if it's your first show, well, good, because it's my first show, so we're experiencing something together. So welcome to Pitch2Production. I am Mayor, and the name of the game is to make a film using 3 random requirements or categories, right? And those categories are genre, gimmick, saying it super slow so you retain it, and, not that I forgot, tone. So explain what that is. Genre is like, romance, comedy, rom-com, stuff like that, horror. Tone is like if a movie is dark, lighthearted, whatever. And gimmick is something that I have to adhere to in order to make that film. So today we're going to make a pitch for a film and let us know at the end if you would watch it or not. And then after that, next week we're going to make a script. Then I actually am going to produce it, and then you're going to see the final result by the end of the month. So this is a 1 film per month type of show. Now that that's out of the way, let's pull that handle. There is no roulette wheel, but you get the gist, right? So over here, I have my New Year's cone, and inside we have sticky notes. So I don't know if you could see from there, but pink will be genre. Blue will be tone. If you can see that, oh, you can, cool. And orange will be gimmick. So now I'm going to pull out a pink one without even looking, right? Is this pink? Okay, that's pink. So what do we got? First things first, we have... Oh, this is cool. Okay. So I have to make a horror film, a horror short film. All right? So next up, now how are we going to do this? I'm excited to do horror. Like, I don't really like horror movies, but I think it's just because I get scared too easily. So let's see if I can make one without scaring myself while editing it. So next up, we're going to pull up tone, right? And this one, if I can get the sticky notes to not stick to each other, okay? We have real. So real, what I mean by that is that it's not melodramatic. It's not, like something out of the ordinary. I have to describe something real and scary, horrifying even. So I'm a little excited to do that. A little nervous because I don't want to push the wrong buttons, but that's what the show is about, right? Pushing buttons, as in a laptop. So now, finally, we're going to get an orange, which is gimmick. So what's the gimmick here? What's the gimmick? Okay, we got an orange one. What is that? Okay, so the gimmick is trailer. So I have to make a realistic horror movie in a trailer form. So this is definitely going to be a would you watch it, right? So now that I have my horror, reel, and trailer, now we can actually begin writing. And I'm a little excited for this. So the name of the game is to see if I can write a pitch by the end of the episode. And you're going to be right there with me, okay? Okay. All right, starting in 3, 2, 1, share my screen. Okay, so first things first, what do we want to do? Realistic horror, what do we want to talk about, right? So the object of horror is obviously to scare people, right? But my favorite types of horror personally involve when there's like a perversion of reality. Take, for example, let's say Alien, right? Alien used certain imagery. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. I can't really say that on air, but they use certain imagery to scare their audience. So how am I going to scare my audience with real horror, right? Personally, I don't like to write outside of what I know. Like, hear me out for a second. I don't want to, especially when I'm doing something real, I don't want to make it unbelievable for somebody that has been through something like that and they see that and they're like, oh no, this guy is full of stuff, right? So what am I going to write? What's this? Okay, so let's start off with a scene heading, right? So let's say night, right? So, one sec. By the way, the program I'm using is called Celtics. No sponsorships yet, but that's what I'm using. Yeah. So let's start with scene heading, right? So you've probably seen this on TV if you're not a scriptwriter. To be honest, I'm not really a scriptwriter, but I want to be one day. So learn something about me today, right? So night, let's say, where is this going to be at? Right, okay, so outside of it has to be inside of the realm of possibility, especially for me as an amateur filmmaker, right? So let's make this somewhere that I can actually shoot at. Let's say like Loxahatchee, right? I can actually go to Loxahatchee and it has great scenery. So Lox, don't butcher me in the comments because I do not really know how to spell Loxahatchee, but autocorrect might. Nope, it does not, and we're going to ignore that. So Loxahatchee, night. All right, a real horror, right? So how am I going to start this? Actually, I got you. I lied. I was about to start a script, but today we're going to be talking about pitch, writing a pitch. And if you ever heard the term film treatment, it's basically like, oh, I'm going to pitch you my film, and would you watch it? Would you provide money for it in order to produce it, right? So instead of starting off with a scene heading, I'm going to actually start off by just writing it. So let's say the year is the current year, real, right? So 2022, right? And the name of script writing is to be as brief as possible because it's not like narrative writing where you over-explain yourself or you beautify the scene because the camera is in charge of beautifying the scene, right? So 2022, let's say let's see, real horror. I said Loxahatchee. So Loxahatchee. All right, so what are we doing in Loxahatchee? What are we saying? Okay, so what is in Loxahatchee? There are, like people living their daily lives. There's businessmen, there's farmers, there's wildlife, stuff like that. And in Loxahatchee, it's very sparse in my experiences. So it'd have to be somebody that's living in a sparse area, which could be a good device because we're in a horror. So let's say this person is, let's say this person is a student, right? A student. I know that experience myself. I am a student, right? Real. So first, before I forget that, I'm going to write down my gimmicks. So horror. Sorry, y'all should have wrote this down earlier. Horror, real, and trailer. Okay. So horror, real, trailer, right? So student, all right? So horrors have conflict, right? We don't really have to worry about the monster right now because if it's a real horror, my take is that there should be like a theme and not just like, oh, I have the boogeyman watching me, right? So let's say, what is the student scared of? Okay, we have obviously like the basic stuff like exams and, the future. Okay, the future could be one, the future. All right, the future he could be scared of, and that is a scary concept for a college student, right? Let's say college student, yep. The future, what's another scary thing for a college student? Leaving the family. Yeah, it's a scary thing, depending on who you are, of course. Leaving the family. Okay, leaving the family. What's another scary thing? Sometimes the scary thing is yourself, like at least for myself, recently I've been thinking about like how I'm changing as a person and if I am a better or worse person. So self-reflection. All right, so we got 3 things. Personally, I'm leaning towards the future. That's kind of a cool idea. Like, how can we make the future into something horrifying? And we could go the route like, oh, let's make a dystopia, right? We could do something like that. What I'm thinking of is we combine future and self-reflection, right? So horrifying. Future, self-reflection. Now, what's the perversion of it? What's the twisted part of it? Do I want to do something like can I say Twilight Zone? Do I want to do something like that? Where like, oh, he meets his future self and he has to run from it. But then we have to give a reason for him to run. And keep in mind, this is real. This is not supernatural. So the monster will most likely be psychological. That's a good note. Okay, so the monster might be psychological. So what type of character will warrant something like this, right? Like seeing a future version of himself and just like breaking down every time, you know? What would warrant that? Let's say, I feel like we could say stress, but if we do say stress, we have to keep in mind the type of character this is, because people can handle stress really well, right? So let's say stress, and what if they can't handle it really well? They can't. What if they take substances in order to deal with it, right? Handle that. They can't handle it very well. Okay. Substances, some ideas, putting it on the wall. That's what a pitch is pretty much. Substances can't handle it very well. What's another thing? Why would they be scared of the future? Maybe a real horror, right? So maybe not something that like is very lastingly sad, like he has a condition where he won't, you know, or they won't make it for a long time, that he's scared of that future. Okay, so why would he be scared of the future? Maybe he has like a family member or just somebody that like he sees that could be himself, but that family member is, you know, like not at the best situation. But that's the real part. What's the horror part of that, right? So let's say family member antagonist, reflection of self. Okay, and what's the horror aspect of it? Okay, maybe that family member, and it's got to be real. That's the trick with real horror. It's got to be real. So I can't say like, oh, he like murders people, because I feel like that's an easy way out for something that's supposed to be taken with a realistic tone. So what's horrifying about a family member, right? Maybe real horror. What scares me? What scares me as a person? Real horror. Scares me personally, not really knowing someone, even though they are a family member, right? Like, have you ever seen somebody or talked to somebody and they just like, in your opinion, they have like a veil around them so you can't really read them? I think that's pretty scary. And we could do something like that, like a psychological thing. So because it's real horror, it's kind of hard to say, oh, this person kills this person. Like, it can't happen. It does happen in real life. It does. But personally, I don't really know that experience. So how can I portray that in the best way? You know what I mean? So, family member, antagonist, reflection of self. What was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. Should have been writing, not talking. So, family member, not real. Man, I lost my train of thought. I'm so sorry, everyone, but that happens. So family member, antagonist, reflection of self. Well, how about this? While I get my train of thought back, let's take a commercial break. Nicole, you ready? Okay, let's take a commercial break, everyone. So right now I got real, horror, and trailer. So we're going to work with that. And in the meantime, I'm going to figure out how to get the train back on the tracks. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Being a successful woman in business means having the courage to own who you are. We understand the challenges faced by women, and we are here to help. Our team is here to develop the best strategy designed just for you. Your path is unique, and with the right tools, you can accomplish your dream. From radio to TV, from podcasting to magazines, we create the visibility to amplify your impact in business. At New Dawn Media, we are here to help bring your message forward and help your business flourish. It is time for your message to be seen and your voice to be heard. Contact us at 866-224-5422 or brooklyncafe.tv. Your voice can make a difference.
Welcome to AMP2 TV, the first and only internet production company that's truly plugged in. When you're looking for a full-service internet radio, TV production company, discover AMP2 TV. AMP2 TV is a full-service media company that can provide all streaming videos, video studios, radio studios, and television studios. Call us today at 866-224-5422, for no business is too small to grow to be accounted. It's time for your message to be seen. Let AMP2 TV help get you there.
Hope you grabbed some popcorn.
Pitch2Production comes back in 5, 4, 3.
And welcome back, everybody. Sound like a YouTube channel, but you know, first episode, first for everything, right? So we last left off on is horror, reel, and trailer. So how am I going to turn that? And somebody commented, don't want to name blast, but you know who you are. Somebody commented that the fear of the unknown is something scary. And I think that adds to what I was saying earlier about a relative. You're not really knowing that relative. So fear of the unknown, not really knowing them. And with that, I think we can start a pitch finally, not just running on the the treadmill. So can you guys see the screen? I'll verbalize it anyway, so we'll see what happens. Don't know, so we'll figure it out. What we're going to do though is one sec. Okay. So we're going to write the pitch. So first thing, we need a character, right? Let's have okay, so sure, why not? Let's have a young woman, a young student, right? Student, and it's the holiday season, right? Comes home for the holidays. Young student comes home for the holidays. The young student comes home for the holidays and greets her not long lost family. I feel like that's kind of easy to do, but maybe a relative that she actually knows. Like, let's say an aunt, right? Let's say an aunt greets her family, her mother's sister's family, her mother's side of the family. And we're probably going to start on that interaction because this is a trailer, not like an actual movie. So we can say like, oh, welcome, name, but written better, of course. So a mother side of the family greets her mother side of the family. So the main character always had a gut feeling that something was wrong with her, right? Main character, oops, that's Meng. Main character always had a bad feeling. So why would she have a bad feeling? Let's say, what would an aunt do? Let's say this aunt has like a family, right? So let's say she has, okay, something that needs to break her. So stress, right? Stress. What can give a woman stress? Job, relationships, kids, herself. She can give herself stress. So let's say she's stressed about the world, and you know how like not everybody, but there's a common saying where like, oh, the world is crazier than it used to be, something like that. Maybe she can be a reflection on that mindset. So we could say the aunt is world weary in a sense. World weary in a sense. Maybe she's a pessimist, like, but on the 12th degree, right? So pessimistic, dismal, pessimistic, there we go. I swear I can spell. Pessimistic, dismal, and how can that be scary? Maybe the main character tells her aunt, you can do this, you don't have to be stuck in the situation, and she is just saying like, yeah, I can do that. Or maybe, well, my first idea would be like, oh, maybe she's hitting a brick wall, but can we classify that as scary, or is that just annoying, right? Maybe she takes her advice to a very, very, very dangerous level, right? So pessimistic, dismal, and the aunt is like looking for something, right? Looking for something. Not like a physical object, but you know what I mean. Hopefully you know what I mean. So looking for something. And let's say pessimistic, dismal, looking for something. Finds hope in main character. Now, why would an older woman find hope in a younger woman, right? We have to worry about that type of thing, especially since it's real. So maybe the younger character comes from a family, like her sister, the aunt's sister, comes from a family that, like, you know, they're doing well or whatever. No, because if she's pessimistic, the aunt, then why would she also be optimistic towards advice coming from a younger person? That doesn't really make sense. So what else can we do? Finds hope in the main character. Pessimist does a lot. Okay, maybe I took the wrong angle. Maybe we don't use the aunts and niece dynamic. What can we do though? I think a scary concept is like an adult that is super, super impressionable. You know what I mean? Because they have not like a man-child or anything like that, but they have the ability to do what they want to do. And if that person is, you know, meets a force that's like not really good for them, they will do that thing, right? That's just, did that make sense? It made sense to me. So maybe not aunts, but maybe main and tag, and we'll figure it out later. Older is world weary in a sense. So maybe not world weary then, because if she's world weary, then why would she be so impressionable? I guess you could be if you believe in somebody. Okay, here's an idea. Okay, so what if there's 3 characters? There's a world weary aunt character. There's a main character that's seeing this, or maybe it's a world weary mother character, and the main character is seeing this younger, and there's a person influencing the mother, right? So we have our main ally, protagonist, antagonist. So no, backtrack, because I don't like that dynamic where it's like mom character, somebody influencing the mom, because I just can't picture it, right? So let's say aunt. Okay, I don't know how much time we have left, so we're going to figure out the pitch as we go. So main character is, nope, that's scene heading. Does a lot of bad stuff to see the brighter side. To see the brighter side, yeah. Because what's scarier than somebody that really believes their beliefs, right? And to an unnecessarily and unhealthy level, right? That's a scary thing, and it happens all the time. So, let's say this aunt, main character always had a bad feeling because the aunt, maybe she isn't impressionable. Maybe she's the opposite, where she just does what she does she says like good. Maybe she doesn't even say good, but she does what she does because she believes in it, right? So bad feeling because the aunt is impulsive, and what's the word I'm looking for? Like, you can't really talk her down. She's not reconcilable. Yeah, not reconcilable, right? Maybe it's just like she doesn't really like her aunt for that reason, but you love them anyways because you're blood related, right? Yeah. So they go to the aunt's house. So why would they go to the aunt's house? Maybe the aunt has a better real estate, right? Maybe the aunt has a better house. So, family goes to aunt's house for Christmas, right? For Christmas. Family goes to aunt's house for Christmas. So I'm going to do bold here. I'm going to put this in bold because in my understanding of script writing, bold means that this is something that pushes the story forward, and then let's say italicized, right? Italicized means there's conflict. So I'm going to take that off. But yeah, so I'm going to put family goes to aunt's house in bold for Christmas, or for Christmas in bold. And the young student comes home for holidays. Do I want to do student? Student I can do because I am a student, right? But let's say I'll leave it. I'll say let's say like 20s to 30s. Let's say that person comes home for the holidays and greets her mother's side of the family. Character always had a bad feeling because the aunt is impulsive and not reconcilable. Okay, so Does the aunt live by herself? Maybe she does, maybe she doesn't. I don't hate the idea that she lives by herself. Aunt lives by herself, and we can emphasize her loneliness by her, always like, saying that she's right. Nobody's really telling her wrong, right? So lives by herself. She's wrong. Nope, she's right. Always right. Never wrong, right? So where do we get to the horror part? Because so far, this is just a realistic, annoying person, right? Where do we get to the horror? Maybe, and I don't want to do, the last thing I want to do for a real horror is play around with the psycho sociopath route, because I don't know that myself. I've never met somebody like that, I don't think. So we're going to see something. Okay, you don't have to do a bad thing because you're crazy. You just have to do a bad thing because you think you're right, right? So what does the aunt do? The aunt, let's say maybe she's, okay, let's throw something on the wall. Maybe she does kill people, right? It's a horror. Even though it's not real, or there's not a real reason to, maybe she does. So let's say she hunts people? She lives by herself. It's a nice place. Loxahatchee, so it's remote. It's plausible. I don't know if I like that idea, though. I feel like it's too, it's been done. Not that anything's wrong with that, but it's been done. Let's say, what's a scary thing, a real thing that she can do? It's an easy answer. We can always fix it later, right? It is a pitch. She kills / hurts people because they are, against, I think I got it, are against her beliefs, and her family goes because they know this about her. They go because they know this about her and don't want her to believe that she's wrong. Okay. Oh, that they're wrong, sorry. So they don't want the aunt to believe that the family is wrong because she might do something, right? So then it's supposed to be real, right? So then raise the question, why didn't they call the police? So there has to be some type of tie keeping them out of prison. And why is the aunt so good at doing this, right? So we got to figure that out. Let's say the aunt, maybe the aunt is somebody that's like very, ironically, very caring, right? Very caring, and maybe she like pays for the family stuff. So the aunt is very caring and pays for the family's stuff, right? Bills, mortgages. Okay, then maybe they pay for mortgages. Maybe they pay for utility. Maybe they just are that guy or that person, right? Let's see. Okay, so that's the reason why. All right, so now we have the background. Now we got to actually start with the conflict, right? 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Okay, I have 2 minutes to write a pitch. All right. This is the name of the show. We got to do it. So, younger character. Let's say younger character sees aunt do this and wants to call the police, right? But the name of the horror is that the aunt, it turns out, doesn't want to, hurt her family, right? So she does all these extra things to stop her niece from doing that, right? So let's say like she starts cutting off phone lines or whatever. Aunt cares about niece. Let's say she starts cutting off phone lines. Let's say like when somebody does call the cop disappears, right? Cops disappear. All right, cops disappear. Okay, so now we're playing with like hopelessness in a sense, right? So cops disappear, So the aunt cares, doesn't want to hurt her. I guess we should establish why, but I think it's kind of self-explanatory if we go with the route like, oh, she loves her family, right? It would explain why she's paying for, like their bills and stuff like that. So now, so then the movie or the trailer becomes the battle of the niece versus the aunt, and Okay, and how driven she is to report the aunt, and how driven the aunt is to love. So it's not a battle of escaping escaping justice or anything like that. It's a matter of what is stronger, and is it the aunt's love, or or I guess it is kind of battle of justice, love or justice, right? And we can play with that. And yeah, so far the pitch is family goes to see the aunt. The main characters, like in their 20s or 30s, they see the aunt. They probably already know about this, right? They see the aunt do this stuff, and they had enough of this. So they're going to report to the cops, and the aunt is like, no, you can't do that because I don't want to break up the family. Maybe that's why she does it. She hates breaking up the family despite living by herself, right? Because maybe that's all she has. So the aunt does this stuff like cut off phone lines, or like, you know, disappear people in order to make sure that she isn't taken away from her family. And the family probably knows this, so they think that the only way to help her is to stay with her and not put her in jail. Maybe that's the reason. And then the main character is like the voice of reason, like, no, we need to put her up. And maybe the family turns on her, or them, the main character. So it will be a battle of, you know, love versus justice, what will prevail. And if I do it in a way where, like, obviously it's bad to hurt people, right? But I think it could be an interesting concept of putting two things perceived as positive against each other, right? So I'm excited to work on this. I know it was very short, very fast, but that's the name of the game, is the first episode. So I appreciate you guys for watching Pitch2Production. And next week we will be talking about script writing, and we're going to be working on this script. And maybe we'll even give it a title. So let me know in the comments. Would you watch it? Okay, see you guys later.
And we're out. You've been watching Pitch2Production. Join in next week as we keep the ball rolling and the ideas flowing.